Today in the Fresh Brew Run Club, my 180-mile review of the Nike Invincible 3 and my surprising findings. Welcome back to the Fresh Brew Run Club. For today's video, I am once again talking the Nike Invincible, specifically the Invincible 3 after running 180 miles in this shoe. Now, I've made a couple videos about this shoe, so I will link those videos in the description below. But to summarize this shoe, I think the first thing, and I saw a ton of social media stuff about this, is the heel slip. A lot of people complained that their foot was slipping out of the back of the heel. I also noticed this on my first run, but I stopped in the middle of my run and I tied what is called a runner's knot, and the problem instantly went away. I have run 180 miles in this shoe, and 179 of those miles, I have not had an issue with the heel slip. So probably the biggest thing I saw on social media about this shoe was kind of a non-issue for me. Everybody's foot's different, but I did the runner's knot and I fixed the problem. The second thing I noticed with this shoe is it is a little bit firmer and therefore a little bit of a faster shoe. So the first two Invincibles actually got a lot of criticism from people saying that they're too slow and they're only for easy runs. I think Nike took that feedback and said, okay, we'll make the shoe just a little bit faster. It's just a little more firm, and I'll get into that in a second. You can run maybe some more tempo work, or I don't know, you can take it on the track and it's not going to be a complete disaster. Overall, I still prefer the first two versions of the Invincible 2, but that doesn't mean that this is a bad shoe. It's a great shoe. I've run 180 miles in it and I don't have many complaints, and I'm going to get into that in today's video, but I've seen a lot of very hot takes on social media about this shoe. I think it's not as good as the previous versions, but it's also fine. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's a fine shoe. So with that being said, let's dive into my thoughts after 180 miles in this shoe. One of the things I did notice, and I just mentioned this, is the firmness. So I think it's a combination of a few different things. One, I think the foam might actually just be a little more dense than the V1 and V2 versions of the Invincible. I also think the midsole area has a little more structure just with the way that the foam is shaped. There's a heel clip that goes much further than the original versions of the Invincibles. It's a little less flexible, a little less bouncy, and a little more rigid, I would say. And then the third thing, which I wish I would have noticed this in my first few reviews of this shoe, is the presence of what is called a strobel board. So this is a piece of material that sits on top of the midsole and below the insole of the shoe. So you can kind of see here that there is a piece of material that's actually stitched on the inside of this shoe. That does not exist in the Invincible 2. I happen to have a pair on hand of the Invincible 2, and you can see there is a piece of material stitched on the inside that helps attach the upper of the shoe to the actual midsole, but it's just kind of on the edge. That material right there in the middle is the pure Zoom X midsole foam that the insole sits right on top of. So it's my theory that the presence of that strobel board in the V3 version of the Invincible does actually add to a little bit of the rigidity, a little bit of the firmness that the Invincible 1 and Invincible 2 did not have. I wish I would have noticed that off the start, but it kind of makes sense. All these things add up to make a much more firm shoe than previous versions. Now, related to this is the 180-mile review, so I did find that you kind of have to break this shoe in a little bit. So the previous versions of the Invincibles were actually really good right out of the box. The Invincible 3s, on the other hand, I think needed to break in a little bit. These got better with miles, got better with age, and I'm 180 miles into it and they feel great. I don't think that it's losing any of its cushion or springiness, whereas other Invincibles that I've run in around 180, 200 miles, you can tell that they're starting to get a little bit worn down, whereas these, they feel better than they did when I first took them out for a run. Now, the thing that I teased in the intro that surprised me the most after 180 miles, and there's no way I could have known this after my first run review or after my 100-mile review, is this is an incredibly durable shoe, if not one of the most durable shoes that I've ever run in. There is almost no visible wear and tear other than some of the mud that I've gotten on it. There's nothing ripping, there's no seams coming apart, there's no foam cracking. There is no sign of issues with this. Now, contrast that with my Invincible 2s, which I think on my third or fourth run, some of the foam started to crack and break. Now, I've probably run about 2,000 or so miles in various pairs, and the thing that wears down the most in previous versions is the outsole foam. So you can see I'm a heel striker and I tend to get burn spots right on the heel, and this happens probably anywhere from 100 to 150 miles. I start to see that spot right there. So you can see I burn through the outsole and get to that midsole foam, and once you get there, things can start to break down pretty quickly. Now contrast that with the Invincible 3, and you can see that I have almost no damage to the outsole, 180 miles, and I don't think I am even close to burning through that outsole rubber. As a heel striker, I really beat up the heel of this shoe and also on the forefoot area as well. They're in great shape. They're worn down just a little bit, but based on the foam, I think I probably have like 200 more miles before I start to burn through that. I'll keep running in these because they're that durable of a shoe, and I'll let you know when I do finally burn through that outsole rubber. But so far, no issues or visible damage on an area that was kind of a problem area with the Invincible 1 and Invincible 2s. So the other portion that I really beat up with the Invincible 2s was the upper. So you can see here, this is the inside of the Invincible 2s. I tend to kind of kick the inside of my heel, and I'm starting to like really wear down this material here, this heel collar area. Now, this isn't anything that is going to like prevent me from running in this shoe. However, the upper in the Invincible 3 is built like a tank. So you can see there is really no damage, and we'll flip it to the inside and there is almost nothing. You can see the dirt from my feet where I kick that area, but there is very little damage. This Flyknit material is super durable. And then what Nike did, they put like a plastic material right here, which is exactly where I kick when I'm running, so that when my shoe strikes that area, it just slides right off. There is absolutely no damage. The shoelaces have held up well. Nothing is ripping or tearing. Honestly, this is an incredibly durable shoe and really, really impressive. I am very optimistic that I can get a ton of mileage out of this shoe, even after 180 miles of running in it. So overall, to recap, again, I like the cushion and the softness and the comfort of the Invincible 1 and the Invincible 2. The Invincible 3 is a little firmer, it's a little more dense, it's maybe a little bit of a faster shoe, which means for me, I don't like it quite as much as previous versions. However, that does not mean that this is a bad shoe. It's a great shoe. I enjoyed running in it. It's gotten better with time. It's extremely durable, which I appreciate. Honestly, in the end, after 180 miles, the shoe is fine. It will get the job done for those easy days, for those long runs. It's gonna keep your feet comfortable, but if you wanna kick up the pace a little bit, you wanna boom, Emerald Lagasse, kick it up a notch, I think this shoe is more than capable of it. Is it as comfortable as previous versions? No, it is not, but it is still a great shoe. So that is my 180 mile review. Like I said, I'm gonna keep running in this. I think I might be able to get 500 miles in this shoe. We will see. I will make a video when I am done running in this shoe just to give my end all be all overall recap video. So subscribe so you don't miss that. But let me know if you have any questions, any comments. I know there was just a lot of opinions about this shoe. Leave your own comments in my video below. This is me pointing down to the comment section. I will do my best to answer any questions. But that is today's video. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you soon.